Man, Islanders have a lot of problems today.
Jesus.
What, didn't work?
No, I think I got it. I'm pretty sure. So let me go back.
What, you got it on Facebook or YouTube?
YouTube. I'm pretty sure on YouTube. Ah, here we go. Share to copy link. Oh, just about to share it now.
Okay. Dude, I got to get back to work. I can't be home anymore.
It's getting to that point where it's just like I can't do it.
No, it's just like, bickering at home. And there's nothing open. And I'm out of a job. So I can't really spend money right now. So I'm just like sitting home all day doing nothing. I mean, like, it's boring,
I mean, I feel you.
you know? That's why, like, I'm hoping, if all goes well with UPS, I mean, I could start in the next couple of weeks or something. Because, like, I'm literally like mentally fried. Did it work or?
Yeah, we're live. I just shared it now. So let me know if you got it. I tagged you in it. So
All right, let me see. Oh, yeah, I just got it.
all right, cool.
All right, give me 1 second to Okay, here we go.
Right.
How you doing, everybody? And welcome to the Moffett on the Mic radio show for this Friday afternoon, late afternoon. We are live, as always, on the A1 Network. Today, we're on the A1 Network YouTube page because apparently we're having some technical difficulties getting it from Zoom to Facebook. But so we have another avenue for this one on the YouTube channel. I am Craig Moffett, and of course, the show would not be complete without the founder of the A1 Network. I am talking about, of course, the one and only Mr. Chris Clip. Clem at Doom Avenue, so beware of trolls. So, I mean, I can't see the comments. Maybe you can, but if you feel free to hide them, it's fine with me. But feel free to comment below. You can like the show and follow the show on Instagram at Moff on the Mic, Twitter at Moffett on the Mic, and my Facebook page as well. You can follow the A1 Network on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and subscribe to the A1 Sports Network YouTube channel, as you can check out other shows such as the Phenomenal Forum, the Top Pair podcast, and of course, the Moffett on the Mic show, as well as Clem's Corner on occasion.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, Clem, we got a lot to do. Not a lot of time to do it. I said it yesterday. I said I did not like the fact that the Rays were going into an elimination game with a bullpen by committee, and unfortunately, I was correct because I just didn't. I didn't like it. I think this is a bullpen that's getting taxed, and they've been playing 5 days in a row now, Monday through Friday. So tonight is game 5, which starts at about 7:00. I might have jinxed myself yesterday because I thought the game started at 8, and I was watching ESPN. I was following on ESPN.com to get some updates on the football game.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw the score pop up, and the Yankees were already winning 1-0. I was like, I just freaking jinxed myself, and I knew I jinxed myself because I'm very superstitious when it comes to things like this. Yankees win 5-1. They win Game 4. Jordan Montgomery gave them a pretty decent outing overall. Gave them 1-run ball over 4 innings. The bullpen pretty much took care of the rest. And Voit and Torres get home runs in what, of course, was a huge game for the Yankees. And
they needed it. It was an absolute. They needed. Well, obviously they needed to win, but it was, you can feel more confident that you're going to win Game 5, knowing that Garrett Cole, your best pitcher, your $320 million pitcher, is on the mound starting.
Yeah. And that's exactly why you got him. That's exactly why you spent $324 million on Garrett Cole, is for nights like tonight. And last year, he didn't get that opportunity, if we remember. Remember, he was supposed to, they didn't pitch him at all in a Game 7 when they really, when he was available, and they decided not to pitch him at all. And that proved costly for them and against the Nationals. But Cole starts tonight. Interesting strategy by Kevin Cash. He's going to go with Glasnow, who's only on really 2 days rest. So I expect to see Blake Snell at some point in this game, but it's a little surprising that he didn't just go to Snell outright. He's just as rested as Cole because he pitched Game 1. But listen, I think the Cole for the Rays strategy always just seems to be give at least 3 or 4 innings, and the rest of the guys will pick up the slack. And their arms are used to that, so that might not necessarily be a terrible strategy. But this was one of the things I just didn't like about the Rays in general, is just that they don't have too many thumpers on this team. And on top of that, they don't have the rotation. Now, the Yankees don't really have it either. Outside of Cole and Tanaka really struggle. But just looking at their rotation compared to Tampa's rotation, you at least have 4 viable starters on the Yankee side that can go at least 6 innings, we could say.
Right.
Cole, Tanaka, Davy Garcia, J.A. Happ. And Montgomery, I think, to a lesser extent. Whereas the Rays they have Charlie Morton, who is probably the only pitcher who won't be available tonight, Snell and Glasnow, and they don't really have anybody else. So it's kind of a tough thing. And this is where we talked about it yesterday, and that I had said that the Rays should have been more aggressive at the trade deadline, knowing full well it's a 60-game sprint to win a World Series. I mean, this could be a huge window for them to win a title.
Oh, no, yeah. Good.
I think they should have been a little bit more aggressive at the trading deadline, just going after some starting pitching to kind of, strengthen up that staff. But they really seem content with this opener by committee strategy or bullpen by committee strategy to start games. And more times than not, it's helped them. But in the postseason, when you're playing 5 days in a row and you've basically averaged about 4 relievers a game, those guys are going to get burnt out. I mean,
Oh no, without a doubt, yeah, it's gonna come down to that point, and you're seeing it now a little bit. Like I'm all for you, like if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and that's what the Rays have been doing. They've been doing this bullpen by committee kind of strategy thing until they got more in Snell and Glass now as some started solid three pitchers, but after them, those three, there's no one there, which kind of stinks when you're in the playoffs because you need all hands on deck and a bullpen by committee game, like you saw, it's not going to help the Rays because, like you mentioned, it's going to be taxing on their arms.
yeah. And the thing is that again, last night they had a guy go an inning in 2/3, gave up 2 runs, and then they had another guy go 5 innings right after him, and he gave up 1 run. I mean, why not just start with the guy that goes 5 innings?
Right.
Okay, but whatever. I'm not Kevin Cash. I mean, Kevin Cash has done a great job with the Tampa Bay Rays this year, so I can't really second guess the strategy. But I think last night was a game you really needed to put away because you want to avoid the Garrett Cole game.
Right.
You don't want to give Garrett Cole a second chance. And that's why I think tonight, I don't see the Rays winning. I don't see the Rays winning at all.
Neither do I. Like you said,
You
they
know,
they needed to win last night. The Rays.
you
They,
had to take advantage of Jordan Montgomery last night because he's been one of their worst pitchers. He has an ERA close to 5. He's been hittable from pretty much the season. This was the time to really take advantage.
right.
Now, at the same time, the Rays are very good. The Rays are in the Yankees' head, so that could play a role in it too. The Yankees could be riding all high, and then the Rays. But I don't see it, man. I really don't. There's nothing that tells me tonight that the Rays are going to win this game 5.
It'll be so tough, and especially if you're not starting Blake Snell. Like Tyler Glass now is good. Don't get me wrong, but he's not anywhere close to what Blake Snell is. But and even Blake Snell isn't as close as to what Garrett Cole is.
But he's not rested either. He's only on like 2 days rest, so it means at best you're going to get him for 3 innings. I mean, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can get 4 innings out of him, that's a huge, huge victory for Tampa right there. But on 2 days rest, that's a lot. Now he only pitched 5 innings in his last start in game 2, but still, I mean, on 2 days rest is a bit much to ask for. And I would say, like I said, the only guy who's probably not going to be available tonight is Charlie Morton. I would say it's Charlie Morton pitched game 3, and he's not nearly ready to go for another appearance. But I wouldn't be surprised if you see Glasnow give you 2 to 3 innings. That probably gives Snell like 3 innings, and hopefully the bullpen can ride it out. But man, I really think they needed to win yesterday because you don't want Garrett Cole in a second start.
Right. No, exactly. You can't. This is the exact reason why the Yankees brought in Garrett Cole, playing these kind of situation games, these game closing games, and with all hands on deck, we saw when Garrett Cole has to be Garrett Cole. We know he can be Garrett Cole, and I wouldn't want to face one of the best. I wouldn't want to face one of the best pitchers in the AL if I was the Rays.
Now, in the Rays' defense, again, they have gotten to him, so it's not like they don't know how to hit him. But game 1, he was good. He wasn't elite, but he was good. He was serviceable. He got them through. Stanton hit the grand slam, or not? Was it Urshela or Stanton hit the grand slam that pretty much sealed game 1? I think it was Urshela.
I thought it was Stanton.
It was Stanton. Okay, but again, I just think you could have put the nail in the coffin last night, and you didn't. And now the Yankees have new life. And again, this is a team, I've said it time and time again, this is a team you don't want to play.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to play them because of that offense. That offense is going to, when it's alive, you're not going to beat them. And one thing about the Rays, if you look up and down their order, they don't have that masher that scares people, but they have guys who do the little things well. But they don't have that Bryce Harper or Manny Machado or Mookie Betts or whatever. So there's not a very intimidating lineup there.
Yeah.
And I think, I think Cole's going to mow him down tonight. I think to be honest, I think it's going to be ugly. I really do.
I mean, for the Rays to try and beat Cole is they got to get on base, man. I mean, like you said, yeah, they don't have a Mookie Betts or a Judge or a Stanton type of player.
Mm-hmm.
They have some decent hitters. Austin Meadows is a good hitter. Randy Rosarina has been on fire this entire postseason, so he has to play big tonight.
Yeah.
It's all these guys who have been playing good, they literally have to show up tonight. They can't be like, "Oh, we're facing Garrett Cole. Time to go into my turtle shell." They can't do that. They have to come out firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, and listen, they've gotten to him. It's not that they haven't. I mean, Cole doesn't give up a lot of runs, though. I mean, he only gives up like 3 runs. I mean, he's been good for the most part. But there are two other things. Number one, I'm not that lucky, and what I mean by that is like 2020 has been a total shit show. So I'm a Mets fan, and I really don't want to see the Yankees winning a World Series. So it only means that the Yankees will probably win the World Series when I'm at my lowest. The second thing is, I think Major League Baseball is salivating for a Yankees Houston ALCS.
Oh, absolutely.
Can you imagine the ratings for a Yankees Astros ALCS?
It would be off the charts.
It'll be off the charts. You're exactly right. Because they've wanted this, they want the rematch so bad. And the thing is again, the Astros are another team that don't have the greatest arms for their rotation, especially with Verlander not with having Tommy John. They have hitters. Their hitting has been off the charts this postseason. Altuve's been great. Springer has been great. Bregman, Brantley. Brantley's one of the most underrated signings the Astros have ever made.
Mm-hmm.
Even Kyle Tucker has been hitting well for them. They have mashers. They have guys, and their bullpen is actually very good. But again, game one, I think it's going to be Greinke. I don't know. Most likely, I think it's going to be McCullers in game one. Game two will probably wind up being Greinke. But then who pitches game three? Is it Valdez? What's that?
No, I was gonna say it's tough to really say, who it is because, like you said, losing Verlander, if you're the Astros, losing Verlander really hurts you because it just depletes that
I was
part.
very surprised. They're another team, in my opinion, that didn't really add an arm. They didn't really try to go out and add an arm. At the deadline, just to try to solidify their rotation a little bit more. But give Dusty Baker credit because he has navigated. Listen, we always knew the Astros were a good team. Okay, they are an incredibly talented team. They are an incredibly, good all around. And while they did cheat, and that's fine, it didn't take away from the fact that they weren't a talented team.
Yeah, we all know that Bregman, Correa, Altuve, Gurriel, and all the
They match up just as well as with Judge, Stanton,
yeah,
LeMahieu, Torres. I mean, they match up very well in that department.
yeah,
Rotation, I give
or
the slight edge to the Yankees
cheating or
because,
not, they're still great hitters.
and their bullpens I think are pretty even because their bullpen, the Astro bullpen, has been very good.
Mm-hmm.
So I really believe Major League Baseball wants a Yankees Astros ALCS.
Oh, without a doubt, they do.
And if they get that, I mean, I think the ratings are going to go through the roof. Tampa, no disrespect to the Tampa Bay Rays, they are a boring team. They're not an interesting team. They're just a bunch of guys. They're a good team. They're a very good team. 90-win season again this year for Kevin Cash. But there's nobody exciting on the Tampa Bay Rays.
Right, there isn't.
And the thing is, if Rays Astros ALCS, people will tune it right off. Nobody's interested. It's got to be you. I think this is all needs to end with Yankees Dodgers World Series.
Yeah, that's the. I mean, it would be real interesting to see Astros Dodgers World Series again.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Joe Kelly probably beaning everybody.
Well, I love that the fact that the Astros are in the championship game because it's like you want even in wrestling, sometimes you want to see the bad guy win.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to see the Astros win just to rub it in everyone's face and be like, screw you guys, we did it, and you guys suck.
Give the Astros a lot of credit because, first of all, in the defense of the pissed off fan, the Astros are very lucky that they played without fans this year.
Oh yeah.
Okay, because they're not in the ALCS. I think if fans are involved in these games under regular circumstances of a season, that fans are wrong sometimes, like just the way they do that. There'll be fans showing up with buzzers all over their chest. They'll be showing up with trash can lids and teams would be giving away free trash can lids or something, like little mini trash cans when the Astros coming to town, or something like that. I mean, that they're going to do that.
My buddy was just like when my before this all started, my buddy was just like, "Yo, we got. I'm gonna print up a bunch of Astro stickers and just stick them all over the trash cans at City Field."
But I mean, again, it's just funny that way though, and like that the Astros caught a major break. This is another team that benefited from COVID.
Yes,
Okay, like what we talked about with when we had Andrew Gross on, and we had Colin Stevenson on, and we had Tim Moyes on, and we always ask the question of the hockey fan is, did the Islanders get a blessing in disguise with COVID? The Astros definitely got it as well, because the Astros literally do not have to play in front of fans, obviously.
right.
Or maybe if there were fans, I think there was like select few people. Maybe teams like had people in these stands, like pitchers that weren't on the roster or whatever. But there's no pressure.
Yeah, there is no pressure.
Pressure on them to. There's no pressure on them to succeed. There's no pressure on them to, you know, from fan heckling and all that stuff. George Springer would be getting violated in center field by the bleacher bums.
Without a doubt, and you saw it
Okay.
when this the what's it? Why can't I? What's the? Why can't I think of spring training? Oh
Yeah.
my god, that's bad. That's a bad look. I can't then not think of what it was
You're
called.
normally on your A game when you're drinking Tab. Today you're
I,
drinking Dr. Pepper, so I assume you ran out of Tab, and you didn't have time to go out and get some.
no, I still have Tab. Tab is still the sponsor of this network, but
Don't say that on YouTube. We're gonna get sued. But
but yeah, you saw it in spring training when it was Altuve's first at bat, and people were booing the shit out of him.
yeah,
It was
and
incredible.
Altuve was terrible in the regular season. He was making errors left and right. He wasn't hitting. I mean, he was just bad. And everybody thought that was just a simple case of karma being a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
And it was coming back to haunt you. But lo and behold, the Astros have played very good baseball in the playoffs. You can't deny that.
Mm-hmm.
There's no sign stealing. At least I don't think there is. But we'll wait for the other shoe to drop on that theory. But Dusty Baker has done a really good job. And I'm not a big Dusty Baker fan. I don't know. I'm just not a big Dusty Baker fan. While I think he could have been good for the Mets, I don't know. He wasn't really like my type of manager, but he's done a very good job handling this team, and they've responded, which is what listen. Before the season started, the Astros are one of the most arrogant franchises in all of sports.
Right.
Altuve doing interviews like Bregman, they look like they didn't want to be there. Like remember those?
No, I remember him. Yeah, I mean, but like rightfully so because you know what everyone was going to ask. You know all that. It kind of got pointless. If you're an Astros guy, it kind of be like, fuck it, man. I don't want to do this shit anymore. And you saw them being arrogant.
Yeah, they didn't want to do any part of it, and that honestly, that shows a lack of empathy. That shows a lack of accountability.
Yeah.
But listen, the games go on, the season goes on, and say what you want, the Astros have definitely proven the critics wrong, and they've definitely made a strong run this year. And people can go on and on and say, yeah, they cheated and they're still cheaters. You're not wrong. You are not wrong.
Hmm.
But the fact of the matter is, you need to give them the respect that they deserve because they've played hard. And that's without their ace pitcher, too.
Right.
Reinke's not exactly what I call an ace. Not anymore.
Not anymore. No, he's good. Don't get us wrong. Like he's still Zach Greinke, but he's not. He's not the number one pitcher on that team.
And the thing is, for a team like the Oakland A's, I mean, we see this time and time again, and this is why Moneyball doesn't work. Okay, and this is what scares me about putting Sandy Alderson on the Mets, because again, it's just they don't have the horses to keep up with some of these teams, and that's a fact. Their rotation is not that great. Their hitters are good. Chris Davis was having a good series. But overall, they don't have the horses to hang with them. And the thing is now next year, Liam Hendricks is a free agent. He's one of their best relievers. He's probably going to be gone. I wouldn't be surprised he's on the Mets. I know Alderson likes him, and I'm sure the Mets are going to want to solidify their bullpen with him to go with Diaz and maybe Familia and Castro. But
yeah,
I really think right now, I think it's going to be Yankees Astros. I think it's what Major League Baseball wants. I think Major League Baseball is hoping for it. And yeah, so we are literally about 90 somewhat minutes away from the Yankees advancing to the ALCS against the Tampa Bay Rays, and Garrett Cole pitching the game of his career tonight.
He's gonna have to. And again, if the Yankees don't win this World Series, I mean, at least win this series, it's a failed season for the Yankees. I'll say it
Oh,
again.
I totally agree, especially in a 60-game sprint.
60 game sprint, you guys are a better team than that, and you can be like, oh, injuries this, injuries that. Everyone faced injuries this year. They got through it. It was a weird season for everyone. There's no excuse again. And we've been saying this for, how many seasons in a row now that the Yankees, they have to at least make the World Series, and
But they're going to, so they're going to. It's a kind of that was the game last night I think the Rays needed, because I think the Yankees are gonna pulverize the Astros. I think they're gonna be go into that series with so much anger about the sign stealing and all that. I just don't like. I'm not saying it'll be a sweep, but I definitely think it'll be like Yankees in 5.
I'm rooting for the Astros this postseason.
So,
I'm really rooting for the Astros. I want to see them win it.
but as we said before, T minus 90 minutes and counting until the Yankees advance to the ALCS Monday against Houston. The Braves advance. They beat the Marlins, and again, Travis d'Arnaud. So every Met fan is having a heart attack about Travis d'Arnaud. Had another big series, and we talked about this yesterday, Clem. But can we just be happy for guys when they go to other teams and play well?
I just don't.
Is it okay? Like, do we have to sit back and go, yeah, what could have been? Let's reminisce on the time when Travis d'Arnaud was with the Mets and he was always hurt and he was never healthy and he couldn't throw anybody out, and everybody was screaming for a better defensive catcher for over Travis d'Arnaud.
I don't get what Met fans wanted for him to do. Like, we gave him more than enough opportunities to put it together. We gave him 6 years to put it together, and he never did. He was constantly injured. He barely hit over 240. Like,
not to mention the fact that, like I said, the Mets gave him like $4 million, I think, guaranteed before they cut him. And the thing was, I guess they just didn't. There was something they didn't like about him. I mean, he wasn't really doing that well when he was on the Mets before they cut him.
He wasn't. Look here. Let me read you his stat line through the years. Okay, 2013, his rookie year. He played in 31 games. He batted .202. Okay,
that was his rookie year, so you give him a little bit.
Second year, played 108 games, batted .242. Third year, played 67 games, batted .268. Fourth year, played 75 games, batted .247.
Wow.
Fifth year, played 112 games, batted .244. In his last year with the Mets, he played 4 games and batted .200. Where is the we need to sign this guy back?
But take it from this too. He went to Tampa. First, he went to the Dodgers, and the Dodgers cut him.
Yeah.
Then he went to Tampa. If there is ever a place where a guy can resurrect their career with little to no pressure whatsoever, it is Tampa. You know why? They have no fans. They hardly have any fans there. I mean, am I missing something? I mean, when you watch Yankees Rays on TV, how many fans are Yankee fans?
Most of them. Whatever the fans are there, it's mostly the opposite team.
That's what I'm saying. Like right now, this team, if under normal circumstances, if this team was playing at home for Game 5, okay, do or die Game 5, how many fans you think in that stadium at Tropicana Field are going to be Yankee fans? I'd say easily 60%.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no pressure in Tampa. There's no pressure to win. There's no pressure to be successful. It was the perfect scenario for Travis d'Arnaud. And then he does one better by going to Atlanta, again, a place where there's not a lot of pressure. There's no pressure there. I mean, he's a good player. I'm glad he resurrected his career, because I don't like watching guys end their careers earlier than they should.
Right. Neither do I. And I'm happy for Travis d'Arnaud. I'm happy. Do I wish he did this on the Mets? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I don't regret not signing him back. See, and this is the problem with Mets fans, because they're so like, oh my God, I can't believe we let this guy go. Oh, I can't believe we let this guy. What did you want? Because if we signed him back to a decent amount, long-term deal, whatever, it would have been like, oh, I can't believe we signed him back. He stinks. We gave him more than enough opportunities to be good with the Mets.
It's like the Robbie Anderson syndrome.
Yeah.
Robbie Anderson signs with the Jets. Fans would be killing him if he wasn't performing.
If you want me personal, I wanted d'Arnaud gone after 2015. He sucks. He was terrible. I never wanted him. He was god awful. Yeah, it was the Travis d'Arnaud trade. It wasn't the Noah Syndergaard trade. Okay, I get that. So you invested into Travis d'Arnaud. Well, we gave him more than enough opportunities to be the catcher on this team, and he wasn't. That's the problem. So you know what? We had to get rid of him, and everyone was happy about Wilson Ramos last year because he played decent last year, Wilson Ramos.
Yeah.
But because now that d'Arnaud is tearing the cover off the ball, hitting 321, and he's playing phenomenal playoff baseball, it's like, oh, I can't believe we got rid of Travis d'Arnaud. These people are driving me crazy, Craig. I can't stand it anymore.
Well, the funny thing is, too, and this is what you got to take into account. Remember, and people hate to hear this, but it's a fact. It's a 60-game season.
Yeah.
You can't really judge a lot of guys on a 60-game season. Hell, I can't really judge Mets like Edwin Diaz and Robinson Cano on a 60-game season. I only judge by what I see.
Yeah.
Over a full 162-game season, Robbie Cano is probably not hitting 370. Okay? But again, with Travis d'Arnaud, look, you caught him on a hot streak. That's all it really was. It's a hot streak. Teams go through them all the time. And you can't take that into you can't deny that. You can't deny it. Like now I'm not sitting here and saying that, well, if the Yankees win the World Series, it's bullshit because it's a 60-game season. No, I'm not going to say that. But the fact is kind of evaluating players is very difficult this year because the season was so small.
Mm-hmm.
So really the guys that didn't get the most extensive analysis are the ones that are in the playoffs right now. Like, for example, Wilson Ramos is a 20 home run hitter, right?
Right.
Give or take. He hits about what, 250 to, 260 maybe.
Yeah.
He was off to a terrible start through the first 60 games. The problem is that's not even 50% of the season.
Yeah.
If you look at it from an entire season, I think his numbers are basically the same. The only thing was behind the plate, he was lazy. He was not good at catch. He was not. He was a lazy catcher, in my opinion. But overall, I mean, listen, just be happy that Travis d'Arnaud's resurrected his career. I mean, is this what we're really getting to now? Are we really getting to d'Arnaud? Like we're miserable that d'Arnaud's on the Braves?
It's just crazy to think that's like, oh, I can't believe we got rid of Travis d'Arnaud. We needed to get rid of Travis d'Arnaud. These people are morons, Craig. It angers me seeing this shit on like Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. It's like, are people just this dumb in the world? Like,
no, it's just that they listen. It's what I say about the Jet fan a lot of times. I always find the Jet fan they enjoy the misery. They enjoy the misery, and misery loves company. That's why, as we get into part 2 of our show, which is about the positive COVID test, which turned out to now they're saying it's a false positive with the Jets at Florham Park today. They sent the whole team home and coaches home. All meetings were done. Practice was basically virtual today. And they're retesting the entire team because, they have to. They don't have a choice. But the game with Arizona right now is on for Sunday afternoon like it's regularly scheduled, but it's possible it could be moved to Monday night or it could be moved to Tuesday, very similar to the Bills and Titans game.
mm-hmm.
Now, the Titans had another day of no positive tests, which is really good. So that's really good news to hear. So most likely that game is going to take place on Tuesday unless, we have another flare-up come up,
Mm-hmm.
hit us. But, with the Jets, it's kind of the same thing. The player is on offense, supposedly. I pretty much thought it was Darnold combing the high schools like he did last year when he got mono. But now there's reports saying it's a false positive. But there's a lot of weird speculation and reporting going on that they're not really being very forthcoming about yet. They don't really have enough information on it. Luckily, it's isolated to one player as of right now. A lot of the other players, any of the players I think that came into contact were tested negative. Mm-hmm. So that's a good thing. And as of right now, the game is still on for Sunday afternoon at its regular 1:00 spot. I'm not sure if Arizona has started flying over to New York yet to play. because there was a lot this morning. Everything was on hold because they didn't really know what to do. They had no idea. Again, these are things that are they're tricky, and you got to be careful with how you handle them, because if you don't, God forbid somebody tests positive tomorrow and the Cardinals are here, then they're going to be stuck here and they're not going to play the game. So
Yeah.
my guess is they're going to probably move. I would not be surprised if the game is moved to like Monday. You might give it an extra day just to kind of get their bearings in order and everything. Tomorrow is not, tomorrow's going to be like a walkthrough before the game Sunday. So I wouldn't be surprised if it gets pushed back one additional day.
Hmm.
Now,
Hate it.
going into this game on Sunday, it's looking like most likely Perryman is out. It looks like Becton is not going to play either. And Bell should be back according to what I'm reading. Vincent Smith, as far as I know, should be back as well. And Flacco has officially been named the starter. I mean, I hate to say at this point that I want to see the Jets just be competitive, and I would be happy with that. But if this team is not competitive for another week, even if it is against a good Arizona team, okay, then I seriously think you need to start considering firing Gase.
Yeah, it's.
And while I understand, listen, I believe it's counterproductive. And here's why I believe it's counterproductive. And I mentioned it yesterday. You fire Gase after this game against Arizona. And let's say you name Greg Williams or maybe Brant Boyer, who a lot of people seem to really like, and his special teams is one of the best in the league, I think. Right? More because we punt more times than probably any other team in the league. The thing is that if the team starts responding and they start winning those tough games, it's going to knock you out of the loop for Trevor Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
And that almost could be worse than not winning at all with Adam Gase as your head coach. Because at least if you go like 2-14 or 3-13, you know what the problem is.
Yeah.
The problem is the head coach. Okay? So there's that. Fans, media outlets all have the same excuse. They just say, well, the team, the team could respond. It sends a message. Well, what message does it really send? Okay, we already know we suck. So what does it matter if Gase is the coach or someone else is the coach? We still suck as a team.
Yeah.
But again, putting a new voice into these guys' heads, you don't know how they're going to respond. And they could shock the world. Like, I mean, I hate to use that term. It's very, it's over the top. But remember last year, no one thought the Jets were going to beat the Dallas Cowboys. No one thought the Jets were going to beat the Dallas Cowboys. And what did they do? They beat the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
Okay. They outplayed the Dallas Cowboys. It was a nail biter like every freaking Jets game. It's very rare that they win a game 34-3. Obviously, that happened last year when they played the Raiders. But they still beat a better team.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't ignore that. I think the Cardinals are a good team. I don't think they're an elite team. Not yet. Kyler Murray so far has struggled the last two games. I don't think he's played as well as everybody makes him out to be. He did not play well against Carolina.
No, he did not.
Did not play well against Carolina. They should have beat Carolina handily. Okay. And if this is a team that's everybody's on the bandwagon for a potential playoff run, maybe even potential Super Bowl run, okay, they got to play better than that. And right now they're 2-2. Now they come in bringing, of course, Kenyon Drake, former Dolphin. So I'm sure if he has a good game, will start the whole, Adam Gase. He was better on when Gase was no longer here. Bullshit. You have Hopkins, you have Christian Kirk, you have Larry Fitzgerald, and everything. Chandler Jones on defense, Patrick Peterson on defense, and everything. But as I said yesterday, Clem, there's something about the possibility of starting Joe Flacco that I like. I like the fact that he's a veteran. I like the fact that he comes from a winning organization. He comes from a winning culture. And I'm not saying the Jets are going to win the game on Sunday, but I definitely think it's possible that he could make some noise. And as I said it yesterday, if Flacco plays well, and he doesn't have to win the game, and I don't expect him to throw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
if Flacco plays well on Sunday and shows a competency to running the offense,
Right.
that is going to be a major indictment on Sam Darnold.
Yes.
Major. Because while the Darnold loyalists, and listen, I like Darnold and I don't want to see them replace Darnold. I think Darnold can play. But you watch a lot of these guys that post the videos on Twitter, and I told you about one of them, Robbie Sabo,
Hmm.
right? You really see how Darnold misses receivers clear as day.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm sorry, that you can't blame on Gase. That's not a Gase, that's a quarterback issue. That has nothing to do with Gase. That has to do with Darnold. Because Darnold should be able to hit those receivers no problem. So if you want to go on and on about the lack of receivers, fine. But if Crowder's pulling 100-yard games every week, you had a pretty decent day out of Jeff Smith, which he could build on for this week. And on top of that, you're getting your running back in the lineup as well as another receiver back. I mean, I don't know what else the Jets can do for Darnold at this point.
Yeah. It's again like if Flacco does good, like you just said, it's not the best look for Darnold because Darnold's year 2 in this offense. There's no excuses this year for Darnold, and I'll keep saying it again. I must say it at least once a week when we do the show
Mhm.
that there's no excuses for Darnold to be the way to play the way he's playing year 3 in the NFL, year 2 under this offense. There's
Yeah,
no excuses. You could say, oh, people make excuses. Oh, it's the wide receivers, or it's this, it's that. So you mean to tell me that last year Robbie Anderson was this big, huge difference in Sam Darnold's passing game? Absolutely not. No, that's not the case at all. And good quarterbacks do make do with what they have. Good quarterbacks will play with the bad wide receivers that they have, whether it's Braxton Berrios or Chris Hogan, whoever it is. But good quarterbacks know how to throw the ball. And like you said, there have been times where we have players wide open, Sam's missing it, or Sam's overthrowing the ball or underthrowing the ball to these wide receivers.
mhm.
There's no excuse at this point for Sam Darnold in his career. You're the third overall pick, year 3 in the NFL, year 2 in this offense.
Yeah.
No excuses.
No, you're 100% right. And last year we were very optimistic with the way he finished the season when he had 13 touchdowns, 4 picks. His quarterback rating was like around 95. He
Mhm.
was making some beautiful throws. And while I understand I was against weaker competition, the fact is that it seemed like he was having a grasp of the offense. Okay. And then we heard stories about how Darnold went to Gase and told him what he likes and what he works well with, and Gase ran with it, and that also helped. So what am I missing between this year and last year? Is it really the fact that Robbie Anderson is not on the team anymore?
Is no that
See, like I think that's a cop out. I think it's a total cop out excuse. And and this is one thing I get tired of hearing. I'm tired of hearing about how this team ruined Darnold. I'm tired of hearing about how it's all Gase's fault and everything. The thing is, Herndon has not developed the way he should be having a better year. He's dropping passes left and right.
yeah,
He dropped a
exactly.
surefire touchdown against the Niners.
Yeah, and it's not even Herndon too. Some of our veteran wide receivers, aka Jamison Crowder, has been dropping balls too. Sure, he's had 200-yard games, but it's the guys like Jamison Crowder that Sam Darnold relies on to catch
Griffin's
the
dropped
ball.
passes. Everybody's been dropping passes and look, again, receivers drop passes. That's not it's not a stretch. But we also have to take into account that Darnold is missing these guys left and right, and some of his INTs have been really piss poor. He throws it right to the guy, and we don't know what he's seeing there.
Right.
He's not reading the defenses correctly. He's not going through his reads well enough, and he's not a good pocket passer. I have not seen enough out of Sam Darnold that tells me he's a fantastic pocket passer. He's a guy who scrambles and he makes his plays on the run.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's crazy to watch some of these games. It's like he'll be in the pocket and it's be like, ah, shit, this might be an interception. Meanwhile, he's being chased by half the defense and he can throw on one leg, looking the other way, a perfect dime pass to Braxton Berrios. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah. He plays his strength. He plays his strength when he's running for his life. But in the pocket, he doesn't do a good job with his reads. He doesn't, he either checks down or he throws it to the guy who's like double covered.
Right.
Okay. And I'm sorry, but these are things like I understand that people can get mad at Gase all you want, and Gase is terrible. I'm not disagreeing with that, but you got to throw some shade at Darnold.
Hmm.
Darnold's got to be a better quarterback. I mean, right now it's a moot point because he's going to be out for at least a couple of weeks. But that's why I'm saying if Flacco comes to play on Sunday and just shows an ability to move the offense, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a major indictment on Sam. I just hope they don't dink and dunk their way down the field. I'm hoping that, Gase lets him loose a little bit, opens it up a little bit more, because then it's going to be a problem. And again, if they get their doors blown off on Sunday, you got to start thinking about letting Gase go.
Yeah.
At this point, I mean, I just personally think it's counterproductive. I mean, if you're going to go down and you're going to go down with the sinking ship, there's no point in throwing the captain overboard for, when the leaking is still going. Like, it doesn't matter. Okay. But at the same time, what scares me and what should scare Jeff, because Jeff fans will complain about this, and we already know this. If this team decides to replace Gase with Greg Williams, puts Jim Bob Cooter as an offensive coordinator, fires Loggins, and they start winning games where they win like 5 or 6, not only will that knock them out of Trevor Lawrence, it could very well knock them out of Justin Fields.
Or even Trey Lance,
And
or
even Trey Lance, depending on how the combines go, however they do the combines this year. So then you have no choice but to kind of ride or die with Sam. You're not going to replace him. Who are you going to replace him with? You're
yeah,
going to make a trade for Dwayne Haskins? You're going to go make a trade for Carson Wentz? No, you're not going to do that.
yeah, exactly. Because there's something we all love, something we all have seen from Joe Douglas the past couple of years, well, the year and a half that he's been here, is that he loves adding picks to the draft. And if you were to, replace Sam with a quarterback from a different team, you have to give up some of these draft picks, which I know Douglas doesn't like doing. Douglas likes adding picks instead of getting rid of them.
What also concerns me too, and again, this should concern, it is a troubling issue with the Jets right now, is the entire rookie class is injured. I mean,
Mhm.
that's pretty bad. The only guys that are healthy right now are P. Ryan and the punter. Becton's not going to play Sunday. Mims is still out with hamstring problems. Okay, we're going on 6 to 7 weeks now of hamstring problems for Denzel Mims. Okay, Jabari Zuniga just came back from IR. P. Ryan has been healthy. He should be getting more carries than Frank Gore. I mean, Bryce Hall's not going to play this year. We pretty much already know that. Morgan is not going to play. He's going to be inactive all season. And then finally, you have Cam Clark, who hasn't really played much either. I think he's scheduled to come back soon if he's not back yet.
Hmm.
And Braden Mann is the only other guy who's healthy. I mean, that's very troubling when your entire rookie class is hurt, and Ashton Davis too.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not a good look on Douglas that all these guys are hurt. But I mean, look, the jury's still out on him because we haven't seen him play at all. It's
Yeah.
not like it's
It's
not like
1 year, so it's like I'm going to give Douglas a little bit of a break right now. I mean, we'll revisit this in 2 years when we see these guys truly come into their own. But right now, the early results, while a lot of people believe that Douglas had a great draft, it's not showing. And again, this has always been the problem with the Jets is you can sign all the guys you want, you can hemorrhage money all you want to free agents, but the foundation lies in the draft. If you don't draft well, you have no chance of success, none.
yep.
You can sign CJ Mosley, you can sign, Patrick Peterson to contracts, you can sign Juju Smith Schuster next year, you can sign whoever you want next year. If you don't build the foundation in the draft, the team will fail. It's no, or the worst, they'll be like a 7-9, 6-10 team, which is what the Jets have always been because I feel like they've always wasted those mid-round picks.
No, you're absolutely right. And again, when the last time we saw the Jets really successful, when we went to the championship game in 09 and 2010,
Mm-hmm.
that they Mike Tannenbaum built that team through the draft. His first round picks when his first year as GM were Mangold and DeBrickashaw Ferguson. And then he built the line after that. You already had Brandon Moore there. All he did was to build that line in 09. He brought in a veteran in Alan Faneca, and he brought in a veteran Damon Woody, one of the top O lines in the league. Then he drafted Mark Sanchez. What did he do? Brought in a veteran running back, Thomas Jones. There it was. There it was. You had your offense set right there, set in stone. On the defensive side of the ball, Sean Else was already there. All right. Who's he draft? David Harris. Who's he bringing alongside him? Bart Scott. Darrelle Revis, another one.
Yeah.
It was
I mean,
big.
the drafting has to be better. I mean,
Exactly.
otherwise, and the thing is, if you keep failing on these drafts, then scouts have got to be canned. What are scouts looking at that we don't see? Because, you know, there were a lot of guys they could have had, and we'll do the coulda, shoulda, woulda game all day, but I don't want to do it. But it's very mind boggling that Denzel Mims is not healthy. You know, Cam Clark is not healthy. We already knew Bryce Hall was not going to play much this year, if at all. So that's a foregone conclusion. So that's fine. Okay, I'd rather see him take a year and just be 100%. So when he comes into camp next year, he's ready to go.
Right.
Okay, guys like Zuniga have barely played. Now Becton is hurt with a shoulder problem. You know, I mean, I don't know. I just want to see this team start. They have to, and I think that's what Douglas is trying to do. I think we were always building it from the outside in. You need to build it from the inside out.
Yeah.
And you start with the draft, and when you're ready, then you start going after the free agents.
Exactly. And I couldn't agree with you more because again, like I just mentioned, that was the last time we saw the Jets really successful, and that's why we went to two AFC Championships games in a row. And you can bring in like anyone who's a good football guy into coach, and that's what they did with Rex Ryan. He was a good defensive coordinator. That's what they did. They brought him in, and the Jets had a solid one of the top defenses for 3 years under Rex. It was just you have to build through the draft though, and you've seen that that Douglas is trying to do that now with. That's why he drafted all these guys because we had holes at these positions that where he drafted, and it was necessary needs too that we needed at the same time. We needed Becton, we needed a wide receiver, we needed a pass rusher in Zuniga. Bryce Hall was a corner who was projected to go in the second round, but due to injury, fell to the fifth. So I think that's good. Whenever he gets healthy, he might be a stud. James Morgan was really the only pick that I was just like, what? Like it didn't make any sense really to me. All the other picks made sense, and you build through the draft with these
Just
guys.
can't. And the thing is, look, James Morgan is a guy you could have probably gotten in the sixth round. You could have got him in the fifth round if you really wanted him.
Right.
I just think if you're going to build the foundation, like I like the P Ryan pick because he's a future running back. He's a young kid. He's not going to be asked to carry the ball 25 times a game, but you pair him up with a good running back, like a decent veteran, or maybe draft a kid next year with one of your draft picks, and you're good as gold there. I think Cam Clark is eventually going to take over as a guard, maybe to replace Van Roten next year. I don't know if Van Roten will be back next year, but filling it, for him. Fant has actually been very good. He's one of the few free agent signings that have actually been very good for the Jets, which was surprising because that was the one that people were worried about the most.
Yeah.
And, again, I think he's just trying to build it inside out. And that's what he's going to have to do. And it's going to take some time and it's going to be insanely frustrating. Hopefully it yields the results because we really need some good news right now. And all I'm hoping is because I think this is a winnable game. I mean, I think if you can contain Kyler Murray, I think you can beat them. I think that's going to be the key. And what you don't realize too is Quinnen Williams is quietly having a good season. No one's really talking about Quinnen Williams right now because all the focus has been on Gase.
Yeah,
Williams has been very strong.
Yeah, Quinn Williams, I will give him his props that he has been pretty solid. I mean, I still don't think he's living up to the third overall pick solid, but he's definitely playing better than what he did last year. So I will give him props to that.
All right, number 3, the Giants get ready for their matchup against the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday. And as we said yesterday when we were talking to your Cowboys super fan, the fact that this game is for a share of first place in the East is mind-boggling, to say the least. But this will be a game where, again, Jason Garrett, it's a revenge game for him, although I don't understand why it would be because he was the coach forever there and he did nothing with them. So he can be mad all he wants, but he should have been fired. He should have been fired 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But, the Cowboys, once again, bring a very strong offense with, Zeke and Gallup and Lamb and Cooper. Tyron Smith has a neck injury. He's out for the season. That's a huge loss for the Cowboys, which I think a lot of people knew was coming. But at the same time, give the Giants defense some credit. They've actually been playing much better under Patrick Graham. Last week, I thought they played great against the Rams, except for giving up that one back-breaking touchdown that sealed the victory. But overall, I thought the defense played as good as you could have asked for. Kept them in the game the whole time. They're not the greatest at pressuring the quarterback, but they make plays.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're better than last year, and they are playing solid. I think it's due to the fact that when you have a middle linebacker like Blake Martinez,
Hmm.
he's been
Kyler Fackrell, I thought, played great on last week for them. Kyler Fackrell, I thought, played one of his best games. And James Bradbury's been a good pickup for them for the most part. I think Gettleman has made some good moves, and people can get on me for that, but Andrew Thomas at 4 overall, an offensive tackle, is not a bad move. It's especially he hasn't really gotten off to a great start, but I think it wasn't a bad move.
no, it definitely wasn't a bad move. And I don't blame Andrew Thomas for playing the way he's playing, only for the fact that because Nate Solder was supposed to be the left tackle of this team, not
Yeah,
Andrew Thomas right now. Andrew Thomas was supposed to be playing right tackle, where he takes a little bit of the pressure off Andrew Thomas, and
mhm,
he can play. He can perform a little bit better.
yeah,
Now you're forcing him to play left tackle. It's a little bit different. I think he'll adjust as the season goes on and as years will come on. But right now, the only reason I think he's doing bad is for that fact.
yeah. But I think the key for me on Sunday for the Giants is I think they have to get this running game going. This running game has been struggling. They haven't really been that effective. They really do miss Saquon Barkley, which shouldn't really be saying a lot either because he hasn't really been that great for them. He wasn't really that great until he tore his ACL. But with Dion Lewis, Wayne Gallman, and Devontae Freeman, they really need to get that running game going. I think that's going to be a key. It's going to be a key to keeping the Cowboy offense off the field.
Yeah, and you have to. I think you gotta feed Devonta Freeman as much as you can. I mean, I know maybe the last 2 weeks were a little bit rough for him because he was trying to learn on the go. But now he's in week 3 with the Giants. He should know the playbook by now, and you should be feeding him the ball more and more often. We saw him do fantastic things when he was when he was with Atlanta. So give this man the ball as much as you can. Dion Lewis, he's a third down back. Let him be the third down back. And
Absolutely.
Wayne Gallman, yeah, and Wayne Gallman, if you want to just throw him in every now and again for Devonta Freeman, let that be the thing. Dion Lewis is not an every down back. Dion Lewis is a third down back, and you and I both know that. We've seen it time and time again when he was on the Patriots that he was great on third downs.
Yeah.
Let Devonta Freeman run with the ball up the middle, out on the outside, whatever he can, and let him be Devonta Freeman. He's a great running back. He is a great running back.
Hmm.
But let him be him. Let Dion Lewis come in on third downs and give Wayne Gallman the ball every now and again on first and second down.
I mean,
That's what
listen,
they
the
got.
Giants could have their hands full on Sunday again with the secondary. That their secondary is not the greatest, although I think Bradbury's played well. But again, going up against Amari Cooper, C.D. Lamb has been having a fantastic season for the Cowboys, and Gallup. Not to mention Ezekiel Elliott. So, I mean, the way I look at it is, I mean, the defense is going to have to put up another big outing because Daniel Jones is starting to regress a little bit. He hasn't really gotten a grasp of this offense. He's really struggled holding the football. He's been taking some bad sacks, and the offense is they haven't scored a touchdown in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Okay.
they got to get this. Yeah, they got to get this offense going, whether it's on the ground or in the air, because I, and Cowboys fans all know, as we talked to one yesterday, this Cowboys defense is terrible.
Yeah.
It's not.
I mean, the
It's not.
secondary. I mean, if there was ever a time, and the thing is, I would like to think Jason Garrett has some ideas on how to beat them, but how does Dak, what does Dak do that he knows about that he can, help the defense out? And, how do you prepare for Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup?
Right.
Okay. CD Lamb, maybe not so much, but you've seen Cooper and Gallup already. You know how Zeke runs the football.
Mhm.
Okay. So those are the keys to probably to help the Giants to get a victory on Sunday. And at the same time, again, if there was ever a time for Daniel Jones to have a breakout game, it's this Sunday against that secondary because that secondary stinks.
Exactly.
And this is the time. I mean, and the thing is like I don't know what to make of Daniel Jones now. I mean, most people are already starting to write him off because Giant fans want to delude themselves into automatically thinking they have to have Trevor Lawrence.
It's a,
Okay.
it's a sexy name out there, and I get it. Everyone wants Trevor Lawrence. Everyone wants to have a piece of Trevor Lawrence because he's the most touted quarterback coming out of the draft since Andrew Luck.
Hmm.
And I get it. It's the sexy name to do, but I don't think Giants fans should jump off the ship, Daniel Jones ship. Yeah, I think Daniel Jones is still a solid quarterback. Yeah, it stinks that Saquon's gone, and yeah, it stinks that you really don't have amazing wide receivers. But I think when Saquon comes back next year and whatever you guys do in the offseason, whether who knows, you guys might draft Jamar Chase, and that might elevate Daniel Jones. But until you guys get this offense really going, I think Daniel Jones is a fine quarterback, though.
Yeah. And again, I think that I think it's tough at this point to fire Gettleman after this year when he hired Joe Judge and he hired this whole coaching staff.
Mhm.
Unless you bring in somebody who knows Joe Judge well. And then it becomes a case of, okay, well, what do I do if I have Daniel Jones? Do I believe in Daniel Jones to be successful? Because we're giving up on these kids too quickly. This kid is a second year quarterback and we're already giving up on him.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're going to give up on the kid. And then that's why these kids regress and they're never the same.
Yeah, and
They're never the same. I mean,
Josh Rosen is a prime example of that.
yeah, I mean, Haskins is a perfect example of that. It's like, Rivera's giving up on him mainly because Rivera sees an opportunity to win the division.
Yeah.
But still, it's just like there's so much impatience now to develop quarterbacks. Okay. And then when Patrick Mahomes sits for a year, this was my personal favorite. Patrick Mahomes sits for a year, and everybody thought that Andy Reid had stumbled on the fountain of youth on how to develop a quarterback when that was something that was going on in the 90s and in the early 2000s. A lot of guys weren't playing their rookie years automatically.
Aaron Rodgers.
A lot of guys were sitting and learning from the veterans for a year or two, and then they were ready to take over by year 3.
Yeah.
And I think that ever since Tom Brady got drafted, 6th round, was it 99 draft he got drafted? Or was it 2000?
2000.
It was 2000. 6th round pick. Ever since he became a soon to be Hall of Famer, he's won 6 Super Bowl rings. The bar for quarterbacks has been set so high for success.
Mhm.
And right now, the only quarterback, I mean, there are quarterbacks who have definitely met that bar, guys like Russell Wilson, now the new crop with Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. But for a lot of there are other quarterbacks that need time.
Mhm.
You can't always just throw them out to the wolves week 1 and expect them to be superstars. It doesn't happen overnight for some guys.
See, I'll say like maybe since 2000, there's been a handful of quarterbacks who have been ready to, start day one and ready to run with it. That being, one of those guys being Andrew Luck.
Mhm.
Personally, I thought when Carson Wentz rookie year, I thought he was fine. So I don't blame the Eagles for Carson Wentz being what Carson Wentz is. Carson Wentz being one of those guys. I'm trying to think of it. Derek Carr was another one of those guys. It's something it's very far and few between. And with Jet fans and Giant fans especially, they want to see success. Especially Giants fans because they got the taste of 2 Super Bowls recently, so they want to get back to that point. And when Eli Manning was almost out the door, Daniel Jones had to take over last year, unfortunately, because Eli Manning was injured. I think if Eli Manning didn't get injured last year, we would have saw Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones's defense, though, I think he performed well for a rookie. I mean, he just had some issues with the fumbling, but he was throwing touchdowns to the point where everybody was labeling him Danny Dimes, which is the worst name ever. But everybody was labeling him Danny Dimes. It was like every time I would turn on like Moose and Maggie Gray was always calling him Danny Dimes. It was driving me crazy at one point because it was just like it's just such an annoying name. And again, it's too soon. It's like he's the toast of New York all of a sudden. And then look what happens. Now he's struggling big time.
Yeah, because the big one of the big questions coming into this year was who's the better quarterback between Sam and Daniel Jones, based off of what Daniel Jones was able to do.
Right now, I think it's a push. I don't think either one has been taking a step forward, to be honest.
Yeah, but that's the thing I'm saying though. Coming into this season, based off of what Daniel Jones did in his rookie year, you can make arguments that he was better than Sam coming into this year. And it's like, okay, that had Giants fans exciting, but now you're going into week 5 of the NFL, and Danny Dimes has not been Danny Dimes. It's like people are ready to jump off the ship. Why? Let it play out again. Giant fans have to consider that this is a new head coach, a new offensive coordinator, a new everything for Daniel Jones. This is his rookie year. I said the same thing last year for Sam. Last year you can give Sam a bye because it was new everything for Sam Darnold. You can do the same thing for Daniel Jones this year. You got to give him a bye a little bit until he gets everything going. This was a weird offseason. Let's not forget that. So he really didn't get a full grasp of Joe Judge's offense or whoever's offense he's running. Yeah.
Well, last year he thrived in Pat Shermer and I think it was Mike Shula's offense.
Yeah.
But All right. Last thing is, of course, today NHL free agency started. Big run on goalies today. A lot of goalies switching teams. Cam Talbot went to the Wild. Um, Jacob Markstrom went to the Flames. Braden Holtby to the Canucks. It
Hmm.
was a bit of a surprise. And Henrik Lundqvist signs a 1-year deal to go to Washington,
Yeah, didn't
the
see that.
Capitals. But I'm assuming he's a backup. I think are they going to go with or is he going to be the starter?
Who's the? It's
Oh, I don't remember. Isn't it?
wasn't it Holtby? Wasn't Holtby the starter?
Holtby was the starter, but I think there was someone else there too, but maybe not. So I guess Lundqvist is going to start.
I can't see Hank starting for the Capitals. I mean, even with the Rangers, he was not like starting, but he was getting when they saw. Keep forgetting how to pronounce this dude's name, the goalie for the Rangers. When they saw him, yeah, when they saw him playing good, they were like, we got to give this guy some more time, and he was basically going 50-50 with Hank. You know, I can't see Hank being the starter on this team.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he is. I mean, Holtby kind of struggled in the postseason. I thought the Islanders kind of exposed him a bit. He wasn't as sharp as he was to in his past, of course. But he's going to the Canucks, and the Rangers made a minor signing in goalie. They signed Keith Kincaid. I think he's more of a third goalie for them because they have
Big
they
key.
have Georgiev and Shesterkin, of course. There was rumors flying around on Twitter today that the Blue Jackets were preparing an offer sheet for Matt Barzal,
Ooh,
but they were apparently it was not true. A couple of NHL beat writers said that's not happening. So it looks like all signs, unless a team blows them out of the water, Barzal's probably going to return to the Islanders in some facet. Um, Islanders were quiet today, like I kind of expected. They have their own restricted free agents. Apparently, the difficulty with the Islanders right now is they're having a hard time moving salary
mm,
to free up to go after free agents, plus sign their restricted guys like Pulak, Barzal, and Devon Tays. So the Islanders have been very quiet, which we kind of expected. And surprisingly, no takers on any of their guys like Boychuk or Letty or whoever. There was a weird rumor going around that they might be trying to move Varlamov, but I don't know if and keep Grice, so have Grice and Sorokin for next year. But I don't know if that's. But apparently, that's
yeah.
also.
Well, the whole reason we signed Varlamov was to get Sorokin, right? I'm pretty sure. Well, not the whole reason.
Well, that wasn't the whole reason, but I think Varlamov knows Sorokin pretty well. But again, the thing is Varlamov still has another like 3 years and $5 million on his contract.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think anybody's going to want to take on that contract when there were a lot of goalies available.
Right.
And of course, the San Jose Sharks got Devin Dubnyk from the Wild earlier in a trade. So, I don't know if there's going to be there's a big market for Varlamov. Now, the only thing is for next year, because next year is when the NHL teams have to start exposing players to the expansion draft for the Kraken, and that's where Varlamov could be exposed.
Right.
Because I think apparently they have to expose guys that are either restricted free agents or have years on a contract or something like that. It's a weird rule. I don't remember like the whole gist of it.
Yeah, but I mean, look, I have tons of faith in what Lou Lamoriello is going to do this offseason. Again, I mean, the one thing we all know we haven't seen in the past 2 years is they got to get a score, and we talked about this yesterday. Whether I
Yeah.
don't, they got to get someone.
Here's where things get interesting, though.
Okay.
So, obviously, the big signing today, I would say, is Mike Hoffman leaving Florida to go to Edmonton.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fine. Edmonton always signs guys and they never go anywhere. Like Edmonton signs players all the time, and they never go anywhere. Okay. Tyler Johnson was put on waivers today by the Tampa Bay Lightning because they couldn't work out a trade at the last minute. And I think he's got about 4 years left on his contract at about an average annual value of $5 million.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't seen any teams claim him yet, but he could be a possibility for the Islanders if they wanted to go. But they have to figure out a way to unload certain players.
Right.
You're going to have to figure out a way to unload a guy like Nick Leddy or possibly Ladd but that's going to be easier said than done.
Yeah, no, it is. They gotta try and create cap space in some way possible. And like we mentioned too, the Islanders have some decent prospects where they can bring up like Oliver Wahlstrom, Kiefer Bellows, Noah Dobson. There's guys who can probably play on the team next year who are very young. And it's like, you know what? Maybe we should get rid of this guy or we should get rid of that guy.
Listen, you could pretty much I think what's going to try to happen with the defense is they're going to try to find somebody to take Letty. I think somebody will take Letty because Letty is a valuable. He's a valuable trade chip. He's more valuable to me than Boychuk.
Right.
And I think that Dobson's definitely going to make the team as a defenseman, as like a third line defenseman to start. But I also think they're going to bring back Andy Green.
So do I. I heard that someone was telling me that a couple of days ago.
They really like Andy Green. They like his leadership. They like his, Lamoriello loves him. He's coached him and he's played for him on the Devils. I think and the team really likes him too. I really think they're going to bring Andy Green back. I'm convinced of that.
I wouldn't hate it, because the way Andy Green was playing, like you need that veteran leadership on such a young team, And as much as I like Anders Lee, like Andy Green was a captain too on the Devils. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
So to bring him in as just an extra mouthpiece for the team and everything, I wouldn't hate it.
The one signing I didn't really think was, it made no sense to me was the Red Wings bringing in Bobby Ryan
Mm-hmm.
from the Ducks.
Right.
They let him go right before the playoffs. Again, the Red Wings are a team that just sign a lot of old players, and that's why they're never good.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the Detroit Red Wings last year were so bad. They bring in a lot of veteran guys. They're not committed to a rebuild. Their glory years are gone. The Yzerman days are gone. The Pavel Datsyuk days are pretty much done now, and Jimmy Howard and whoever else. And they just even I think they put Justin Abdelkader on waivers too. So he was another guy that. But other than that, though, they don't really bring in. They don't know how to rebuild the team.
Yeah.
So what is Bobby Ryan going to do for you? Is he really going to make your team leaps and bounds better to be a postseason team? No, he's not. So I think they're the only team that were willing to offer him a decent contract to go play for them. So he went.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense for them to do that.
So, but this has always been the Islanders' forte. They've never been a really aggressive team on the first day of free agency. Panarin last year was a different story, but right now they're playing exactly how I expect them to. There's nothing. Well, would always like to see a free agent pickup or two, but I think they're going to wait till it calms down, and then you'll probably see them make their moves quietly. And I think Lou knows what he's doing, so just give him a little bit, give him a little time. And I think the idea is to keep the roster pretty much exactly the same going into next season.
Yeah, no, you got to keep the roster the same because you saw the Islanders perform so well with the team they had, and they didn't have an all-star player like that. I still think Taylor Hall is the guy to bring in because that's Lou's guy right
It costs
there.
a lot, man. It's going to cost a lot.
It's going to cost a lot, but I like I said, I have
talking at least 7-8 million a year, possibly an eight-year contract of some kind.
like I have plenty of faith in what Lou's going to do. And the big move, the only really move the last year the Islanders made in the offseason was they signed Derek Brassard, and he actually had a pretty good postseason for the Islanders.
Got to bring him back.
I think, I think so too. Look,
they're tied up though, man. They just don't have the resource, and they have too many guys that are restricted free agents that need contracts. Guys like again, like we said, Pulak, Barzal. Unless you want to let Barzal go, if he signed, if he signs a lucrative offer sheet, you're going to let him go.
It's I don't
see. It's tough, right?
You can't let Barzal go. Everyone loves Barzal.
Exactly. So it's a tough. This is what the business side of it is, and the Islanders are. As of right now, I think I read they only have like about $8 million in cap space. That's not a lot. So they got to clear out some money. Too bad they can't make a trade with a team that has to get to the cap floor.
Right.
Then they could probably dump Ladd's contract on them because they have to get to the cap floor.
Mm-hmm.
So,
like I said, right. I have plenty of faith in what they'll do, and I think there are guys in the system already who can come up and replace some of the guys we have already.
Yeah. Have we got any comments?
We have not.
Okay, good. All right, so why don't we do this? Let's pull up the schedule for week 5. We'll go over the games real quickly. Then we'll talk about the WWE draft.
All right.
And then we'll, as we are T-minus 45 minutes until the Yankees advance to the second round or to the ALCS to take on the Houston Astros on Monday, which is what, as we said, Major League Baseball desperately wants. Because the drama is just delicious in their mind. The Tampa Bay Rays Yankee series has been everything that they've wanted it to be and more. And the Yankees Astros series on Monday will definitely be everything they want and more. All right, so let's pull up week 5. We won't do the Jets game. We won't do the Giants game, and we have our first bye week, so that's actually pretty exciting. Detroit. I know Detroit's out and Green Bay's out.
Yes.
So
The first game we got Jaguars at Texans.
the first game of the post Bill O'Brien era in Houston. Um, the Jags have come down to earth pretty bad, in my opinion. I think that, although I think Gardner Minshew is a good quarterback, I don't know if he's a starter in this league as much as everybody makes him out to be one. But I do think he is a good quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback to have on your roster.
Mhm.
Okay, um, the Jags are a rebuilding team, and the thing is, I'm going to go off kilter for a minute. To all those people who are probably thinking, "Oh, Trevor Lawrence should just stay in the draft if the Jets have the number 1 overall pick," do you think that Trevor Lawrence doesn't want the New York marketability? Do you think that Trevor Lawrence doesn't want to be a star in New York?
Like
The
it,
promotions and the endorsements alone will be enough to make him millions of dollars.
and the one thing is too, if you're good in New York, you're the most beloved man in the whole.
Absolutely. Trust me, Trevor Lawrence he wants it. He's not going to I literally I hardly doubt he is going to not enter the draft. I don't see it. I don't see it as a possibility.
Yeah, neither do I. And again, and we've seen it before. You win a championship in New York, you're the most beloved man in the world. Derek Jeter, most beloved guy in all of baseball for years. Eli Manning, everyone loved Eli Manning. Michael Strahan, all these guys. If you win a championship or you do good in New York and you stay with New York for a long time, you could be the most beloved man no matter where you will go in this world.
Now, for the game on Sunday, it's very simple. The Texans are going to be under, I guess they're under the same offensive, they're going to be under a different offensive coordinator for the game. And this could be a game where Watson breaks out. I don't necessarily know if the Texans' problems are predicated to Bill O'Brien calling plays. I just think it's the way he built the roster. I don't think it's anything to do with the way he's called the plays.
Right.
I just think that he's traded away valuable draft picks. He's given guys lucrative extensions, and he's kind of buried that team in bad contracts for a while.
Yeah,
You know, whether it's Deshaun, and Deshaun Watson is a great quarterback, but right now, it's a bad contract. Same thing, you have Laramie Tunsil under a big contract. You still have JJ Watt under a big contract. These guys are not going to, these contracts are not going to age well for this franchise.
no, you're absolutely right. And like I said, I don't think Bill O'Brien was a bad coach. He was just a terrible
Yeah.
GM.
I mean, that's what they should have did more than anything was, let him focus on being a head coach. I would have said to him, like, listen, you can either be the GM or the coach, but you can't be both.
Yeah,
Okay. But the thing is now next year, they have no first round pick, no second round pick. So that's a huge issue for next year.
mhm,
And again, you're talking about if you're a coach, what's bringing you to Houston
yeah.
outside of Deshaun Watson?
It's not. It's
I
really not
mean,
appetizing to go there.
so the Jaguars are an up and coming team. They're a young team. I mean, I think they've played above expectations for the most part, but they're also a bad team
They are. They've
because
shown.
they have a lot of youth. I mean, you saw them pretty much exposed in that Dolphins game last week. When Ryan Fitzpatrick just steamrolled them. I
Yeah,
mean, because they just weren't really. They didn't look like they were ready to play at all. Gardner Minshew struggled. I mean, there was just a lot of all around, but they're a young team. And they're starting to put building blocks together. They have a young receiving core of DJ Chark, Chris Conley. I think has actually played well. He's probably more of their veteran. Laviska Shenault has been pretty good. James Robinson looks like he could be a stud in the backfield for them. And
mhm.
again, you're predicating your defense around your pass rusher, Josh Allen. So, there are pieces in place. I mean, I don't know if I wouldn't be surprised if the Jaguars give him a game though on Sunday. I could see the Jaguars giving him a game. The Texans defense is not that good, and while I love JJ Watt, man, he looks old and slow.
Yeah. It's not the JJ Watt we once saw.
I
And
just think the injuries have just caught up to him. I really do, and I wouldn't be surprised if he retires within a year or two. I
I
think it's really really caught up to him at this point. All right, what's the next game?
got Bengals at Ravens.
Oof, man, that's gonna be a rough game for the Bengals. I mean, that's pretty much all. I think Joe Burrow's gonna get his bell rung a couple of times on Sunday.
Oh,
Um,
without a doubt, yeah. But the one thing again, if you're a Bengals fan, you don't want to see wins or losses. You just want to see Joe Burrow play play good football, and that's what you have been seeing. You've seen Joe Burrow play great football lately for a rookie, and
Yeah.
you want to
I
see it
thought,
continue to grow.
mhm. I thought he played well on Sunday. I thought he had a pretty good game overall. Mixon, I think Mixon was the key to that game, though. He finally had that breakout game you've been wanting him to have. As for the Ravens, I thought they've gotten a little bit of a Swiss cheese portion of their schedule with, they beat the Browns. They lost to the Chiefs, but they came back and they beat the Washington football team. Excuse me, I apologize. And now they get the Bengals at home. I mean, they're getting kind of a soft part of their schedule. And Lamar Jackson has been exactly, he's been good. I don't think he's been as good as last year,
No,
but I think he's been pretty good overall. But the Ravens defense is still strong. So I think either way, it's going to be a long day for Burrow. I mean, this is going to be a true test of competition for Joe Burrow
no, yeah, absolutely.
Sunday.
And this is the game you look forward to if you're a Bengals fan because you want to not necessarily win this game, but you're going up against one of the top teams in the NFL. So
Mhm.
you want to at least play good, not get the doors blown off you, but you want to play competitive football with the Ravens.
Yeah. All right. Next up.
We got the Panthers at the Falcons.
This game has potential to be a shootout. I really do. I really like this game. I like this more for the Panthers. I just don't like the Falcons defense. And listen, we know what Matt Ryan can do. We know what Julio Jones can do. We know what Calvin Ridley can do. So we're not. This is not new to anybody.
Mhm,
But that defense is really, really struggling.
mhm.
And last week they didn't really have a block because they were playing the Packers, and the Packers, they didn't have a collapse because they're playing the Packers. But those two games where they collapsed and they lost really, really, I think, put a huge black mark on this defense for the season. And look, I don't know if Dan Quinn is going to survive the season. I mean, the Texans definitely took a pretty ballsy move by firing Bill O'Brien,
Mhm.
but you could see a trend if bad teams continue to play extremely poorly. And it could be a thing where Quinn gets fired after the game on Sunday because, again, this defense is not showing up to play, and he's a defensive guy.
Yeah, exactly. I like the Panthers in this game. Panthers come out every week and fight. Mike Davis has been doing a decent job filling in for McCaffrey, and Teddy Bridgewater looks like he's
We always knew Teddy Bridgewater was a competent quarterback. We always knew he knew what he was doing out there. It was just a case of finally giving him the starting role that he deserved.
right.
Okay. And look, the Jets have, not the Jets, the Panthers have done right by him. I think he's played well for the most part. Robbie Anderson is thriving in Matt Rule's offense. So overall, I think this has potential to be a shootout on Sunday, definitely. And I think if the Falcons lose, I just think the seat gets hotter for Dan Quinn, where he's not going to finish the season.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more.
Go ahead, next game.
We got Raiders at Chiefs.
This is another game for the Raiders I just don't like. I mean, the Chiefs are coming off. They beat the Patriots, but they weren't. I didn't think they were at their best against the Patriots.
Mhm.
But listen, they're still the defending Super Bowl champions, and that's all you really need to know. With the Raiders, I think the problem is they're really banged up, especially on offense. Their receivers are really banged up. I think last week Hunter Renfro was a number one receiver, or Zay Jones was number one. Waller was injured. He was healthy but not healthy.
Right.
He was playing hurt. So was Josh Jacobs, even though Josh Jacobs, I think, did what he could. But overall, I mean, I just think, especially if this is an Arrowhead,
Yeah.
okay. And it's all the more reason why I think they're going to get blown out on Sunday. And the Raiders defense is not really that great. And it's not going to be able to keep up with Pat Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So I could see this being easily a blowout.
Yeah, same. I mean, there's nothing really to say about it. Like, as long as you have Patrick Mahomes on your team and Andy Reid's coaching you.
Yeah, you're good as gold.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, next up.
Eagles at Pittsburgh.
Man, I really don't like the Eagles. I just don't like I just think this team is a mess.
No, so do I. The Steelers. I've told you time and time again on this show that I think the Steelers defense is one of the best in the league, and this Eagles offense has been
Pass
struggling.
rush they have alone with TJ Watt and Bud Dupree, I mean, is phenomenal.
Exactly. Let's not forget Joe Hayden really resurrected his career with the Steelers, and Minka Fitzpatrick is he's Minka Fitzpatrick. I mean, there's nothing really else to say about him.
I mean,
But
the Eagles struggled on both sides of the football. I mean, they've been struggling. Now, listen, they got the win against San Francisco, which was a big win, but now you're playing on a short week, okay, which is another part of it because you've had to fly all the way back to Philadelphia from San Francisco, but you still got the victory, and that's all that really matters. Carson Wentz has not really looked that great running the football. Throwing the football, and their defense, their secondary is not very good.
It's not.
Darius Slay is probably their best player on defense, but other than that, their defense has not been very good. And this is against guys like Nick Mullins, Joe Burrow, and now you're playing Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a long day for Philly. And again, it goes back to what I'm saying. It's going to be crazy that this could be the first year that the winner of the NFC East could very well have a losing record.
Yeah,
I mean, it's scary to think. And at the end of the day, I think Dallas will eventually emerge as the team that will, they'll go on a run because I think they're the best equipped team to do it.
mhm.
But I don't know, man. Nothing about Washington, nothing about the Eagles, and nothing about the Giants. Even though I've said keep an eye on the Giants because this is a very weak division. I mean, I think the Cowboys will win it by default, but it's going to be a dogfight all year.
Yeah, it's not too appetizing of a division to watch.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next game we got the Rams versus the Washington football team.
Is that in Washington or in LA?
That is in Washington.
It's in Washington. The Rams coming across country. Kyle Allen's first start as quarterback for the Washington football team, and he couldn't have picked a tougher opponent.
Yeah, I know.
Look, Kyle Allen knows how to run the offense. I just don't know if he's good at running the offense. I mean, if I had to basically describe it, I think it was still very premature to bench Dwayne Haskins. I think the more reps he gets, the better of a quarterback he's going to be. And again, when you don't surround the guy with weapons, listen, if Dwayne Haskins can't run the offense efficiently with the weapons that he has, I mean, I know he makes mental mistakes, and that's fine. How do you expect Kyle Allen to be any better?
Yeah, that's what because I was thinking about betting the Redskins money line this week because I'm like, oh, they want to win. That's why they put Kyle Allen and we talked
Is
about this.
Chase Young playing? Is he still out?
I think he practiced. I think he started practice yesterday.
All right. Well, if he's playing, then that's a whole. That's really that is kind of a difference maker because that Washington pass rush is very good, and with him on the field, it's 10 times better. It's going to give Jared Goff some fits, but I don't know if he's going to be playing or if he's going to be very limited in playing.
I was like I said, I was thinking about betting I'm like, you know what? This defense is too good. This defense is really good for the Rams. As long as you have Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey,
Mm-hmm.
it's one of the better defenses in the league. And Jalen Ramsey is a stud. When all he has to do is just lock up Terry McLaurin the whole time, and then Kyle Allen has to try and use other weapons which they don't have.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Without Terry McLaurin, you shut him down, then. And it's going to be establishing the run. You're going to establish the run against Aaron Donald and that front four. I mean, that's going to be tough. I mean, the Rams defense has been pretty decent for the most part this year. It's been surprisingly good. And, it depends on how it goes. But listen, Rivera at the end of the day feels comfortable with Kyle Allen, so he's going to go with Kyle Allen. It just sucks because I would like to have seen Haskins have some success.
I like Kyle Allen. Like we saw him play good in a few games last year, so it'll be interesting to see how he can take control of this offense here.
Mm-hmm.
Next game we got the Dolphins versus the 49ers at 49ers.
Do we have a status update on Garoppolo?
I think he's playing Sunday.
Okay, so he's playing. Look, the Dolphins are what they are. I think this is a tough game for them. However, the 49ers are definitely weaker without Nick Bosa and Solomon Thomas. When you lose that much of your pass rush, that's tough either way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm pretty sure Kittle's playing on Sunday. And I think Deebo Samuel is active too.
Yes.
Okay, so that's huge, especially having your quarterback back. Is there a status update on Mostert yet?
I'm not sure, but Jerick McKinnon has been doing a decent job. So it's not like they're going to be relying on Mostert to come back. Jerick McKinnon and Justin Wilson have been or Jeff Wilson have been doing a pretty decent job in that backfield in Mostert's absence.
Yeah, so the good news is they're getting their offense back. The bad news is their secondary is Richard Sherman's still out. And again, when you lose guys like Bosa and you lose guys like Solomon Thomas wasn't very good for them, but he still provides a pass rush.
Right.
And then on top of that, I don't know. I think D Ford is healthy, but he's still banged up also. I mean, their defense is definitely taking some licks, but their offense is definitely starting to get healthy again. And I think that's a positive sign moving forward. As for the Dolphins, look, you can't ask for more out of Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean, I think he's done as best as he possibly can. Um, I think it's only a matter of time before they go to Tua. I mean, I would say, and I would give it like another few weeks.
Mhm.
But who did the Dolphins play last week? I know they didn't win, but I can't.
Oh my gosh, who did they
Oh,
play?
they played Seattle.
Yes,
They played Seattle, and they struggled. I mean, it wasn't, it was all field goals for the Dolphins, pretty much.
it
But
was. Yeah, but their defense held it in pretty close.
yeah,
So
but
that game became more interesting than it should have been because the Dolphins only lost by 8 points, and in reality, if you're looking at it, the Seahawks should have blew them out.
the Seahawks broke away at the very end.
Yeah,
I mean, and the thing was, I was a little surprised that the Dolphins couldn't take advantage of the fact that the Seahawks secondary gives up just hemorrhages yards.
yeah,
But I think this will be a tougher game because you're going across, two straight games against one of the toughest divisions in the NFL. That's pretty brutal for Miami. But listen, don't be surprised if Fitzpatrick struggles. They try to give Tua some reps
yeah.
and they try to see what he can do to start. But I think they'll wait it out a little longer. And I think until they know for certain they're out of the postseason, that'll be the time where you see Tua. So,
Next game we got Colts at Browns.
oh, this is going to be a good game, actually. I think Baker. I don't think Baker's been as good, but I think he's been effective. And Nick Chubb being out that's going to hurt. Not as much though because you have Kareem Hunt.
Right.
I think it's been a case with the Browns was they finally found the guy. Kevin Stefanski, I think, has done a really good job with the Browns offense.
Mhm.
I think he's emphasized the run a lot more, which has taken a lot of pressure off Baker Mayfield. And for what it's worth, man, Odell has been a pretty good soldier about everything. He hasn't really been a pain in the ass. He had a huge game last week against Dallas, which I think was really his breakout Cleveland game in a way.
Mhm.
Okay. It's all starting to click, and the offensive line for the Browns has actually been pretty good. Now, on the Colts side, you're talking about the number one defense in the NFL, and you're also talking about Philip Rivers, a seasoned veteran. The Browns still have some kind of holes in their defense. They still have Myles Garrett as one of the top pass rushers in the league, but they also have been struggling on defense.
Mhm.
So the thing is, I just don't know if Rivers is capable of putting it on his back.
Right.
Okay. And at the same time, I think eventually the number, these games in a row where the Browns have scored 30 or more points, which is like has been unheard of in Cleveland, could eventually come to a rest against this defense, which has been very good.
This defense has been really good, and it'll be very interesting because I thought last week's game against the Cowboys was really like
I mean, they shredded Dallas secondary. They
exact
shredded, completely decimated Dallas' secondary.
no, exactly. And that's what like it gives it's that kind of, performance that they have gives them that kind of confidence to be like, okay, we're ready. This is what we got. This is who's good. This is who's bad or whatever, Like it gave them that confidence to be like, okay, we can play with any team in this league right now.
Yeah. All right. Next up.
Next game we got the Sunday night game with the Vikings at the Seahawks.
The Vikings are starting to kind of they're starting to develop a pulse. I think their offense has been a lot better over the past 2 weeks with, giving it to Dalvin Cook. I think Adam Thielen is one of the top receivers in the NFL right now.
Mhm.
I'm still not 100% sold on Kirk Cousins, but I think he's done the job. I mean, I think he's done a pretty good job overall these past couple of weeks. Going into Seattle with no fans, I think is advantage Vikings in a way. But I think the defense really, really, really has to tighten up. And one thing you like out of the Vikings so far is Justin Jefferson is starting to develop into a strong, strong receiver. He's had 2 quality games in a row, 200-yard days. One against the Texans and then the week before that. But overall, I think now with the Seahawks, it's Russell Wilson or bust. That's pretty much what it is. There's no other, Russell Wilson makes that offense. And without him, the Seahawks go nowhere. And the thing is their defense has also been, it's gives up a lot of points, gives up a lot of yards. Now, I'm pretty sure Jamal Adams is going to play on Sunday. But one thing about Adams is his coverage has not been great. It has not been great for what you gave up to get him. You're 4-0, but you're not 4-0 because of him.
Yeah, you're
You're
4-0.
4-0 because of Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Okay. And the thing is that Jamal Adams was the anchor of the Jets defense. Here, I'm not really seeing the same prez that I saw in New York.
No, you're not.
And go back to the video of Julian Edelman just taking him to school pretty much in that Sunday night game.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I like you said, I think the Vikings are catching fire at just the right time. The offense has been looking very good the past couple of weeks. Adam
This
Thielen,
offense matches really up really well. And the thing is, you're going up now against Thielen, and now Justin Jefferson is starting to come out of his shell, which is what you want to see if you're a Viking fan, if you're a Vikings coach. Cousins has another weapon that he's going to start being comfortable with to go with Adam Thielen, who pretty much catches everything.
exactly.
And then with Dalvin Cook out of the backfield, this offense is starting to look formidable. Their defense has really struggled, though, especially their secondary. So Russell Wilson could pick them apart, even though Harrison Smith has been really strong for them. But
Harrison Smith has been very good, but again, they have to try and get to Patrick Mahomes. They have to try and get to Russell Wilson, and that's going to be the key to winning this game.
And I think you're going to need a big game out of Yannick Ngakoue.
Yes.
This is why you traded for him. This is the type of game he needs to have a big game on Russell Wilson. He needs to make Wilson uncomfortable in the pocket. He needs to pressure him. Mm-hmm. That's the key. That's going to be the ultimate key for the Vikings to win on Sunday night over the Seahawks.
Yeah. All right, the first Monday night game, 5 p.m. So I guess Monday afternoon game. We got the Broncos at the Patriots.
Cam is probably not playing in that game, right?
Yeah, I think they're going with Hoyer still.
Oh God, that's going to be a really low-scoring game. It's going to be like 10-6.
Yeah, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah, the thing is that Belichick will be more prepared for Brett Rippon, and that's about all I can really say. I think that the Patriots, if it's in Foxborough, then I think Belichick is advantage Belichick. That's probably all you can really say. This team, the Broncos were a team. They were another team I thought that had very little margin of error for injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Drew Lock being hurt, Von Miller being out for the season, and then on top of that, you lose Cortland Sutton for the season. I think Cortland Sutton tore his ACL.
It's tough. It's tough if you're a Broncos.
Putting a lot of pressure on guys like Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler. And now you have Noah Fant who's hurt, and he may not play. That's another big loss right there because at least a third-string quarterback can be a little bit more reliant on his tight end. And he's not going to have that luxury on Sunday. And the Patriots will pretty much know. Now, Stephon Gilmore, I think, tested positive for COVID, or I think he was put on a COVID list. So he may not play on Sunday. So that could be an interesting wrinkle right there. But with a third-string quarterback to go with Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler, two rookies, against a Hall of Fame coach and Bill Belichick, it could be a very long day for Denver.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, second Monday night game. We got Chargers at Saints.
Is there a status update on Michael Thomas yet?
I don't think he's playing.
Look, the Saints are the Saints. I think it'll be an interesting game with Justin Herbert, who's now been labeled the full-time starter for the Chargers, which was the right move. Again, Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara has been fantastic. You can't ask for anything more out of him. And the Saints are at home, but again, with no fans, it's tough. At least the rookie quarterback would be a little rattled. But now under this situation, you're kind of playing. It's a fair game.
Yeah.
And Herbert's played really well. The last few games he's played very strong. The Saints defense, I think, has shown some cracks. I don't think they're as good as they were last year. I thought they were much, much better last year. And again, I think it's going to be a case of getting Drew Brees is going to have to do what he did last week against Detroit. You just got to get more guys involved. Sanders got to get involved more. Tyquan Smith has to get involved more. So it takes the burden off of Kamara, so they're not just totally preparing for Kamara out of the backfield, Kamara on a screen or whatever it is. So I think this is the time where it sounds weird where I'm going to say this because I haven't seen much out of Jared Cook this year either. I think I need to see a little bit more out of him. But these were the times where I think you miss vintage Jimmy Graham on the Saints.
Yeah.
Jimmy Graham was like that no doubt security blanket for Drew Brees.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. And they need like Emmanuel Sanders is good, Jared Cook is good, but it seems like that if Michael Thomas isn't in this starting lineup, the offense is really just all through Alvin Kamara, which is not good. And Drew Brees is better than that too. He's smarter than that to know to use his other weapons like Emmanuel Sanders,
Yeah.
like Jared Cook. Like a Tyson Hill or Deontay Harris or whoever else is they're using. They have the weapons. It's just that it feels like that Brees isn't utilizing them.
No, and the thing is, his weapons aren't as good without Michael Thomas in the lineup.
Right.
That's the problem. Emmanuel Sanders is not really a guy you can rely on to be your new number one receiver, and that's where they just run into a wall. So, all right, next we want to do. Oh, Bills Titans is Tuesday, right?
Tuesday, yeah, Tuesday night game.
Okay, well at least listen. At least it's good. I mean, at least they're playing the game. Listen, for the Titans, I mean, off a week, probably didn't practice much because of the COVID and all the guys testing positive. So that's not necessarily a great thing. But the good news is they are all negative now. That's probably the important thing. I mean, I think the Bills could just. I mean, I don't know what to make of the Titans this week. I don't know how much prep they had. I don't know how much practice time they've had due to the outbreak, due to all the positive tests.
Mhm.
So you could look at it in two ways. Either it's going to be a long day for Tennessee, or it could be just something where they get the additional days to get ready to prep for the game.
Right.
And they already had a week off, so they're rested for the most part, except for the guys who are sick. And that's basically it. Tannehill against that secondary, I think is going to be a tough matchup. I think the Titans will try to win this game on the ground with Derrick Henry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, and we know that the way you stop the Titans offense is you stop Derrick Henry, force Tannehill to throw the ball, and with this Bills defense, it's Bills defense is a great defense, and I think they absolutely can get to they can absolutely stop Derrick Henry, and they can get uh Tannehill to throw the ball more, and the Bills secondary might just have a feasting day on Tannehill.
Yeah, could be, or it could be, a game like we saw when the Rams kind of exposed Buffalo's defense.
True.
I mean, the Rams offense kind of picked apart Buffalo's defense in the second half, and now off of a flimsy call, the Rams probably should have won that game.
Right.
All right, so that takes care of our Week 5 review of games. Well, on Monday we'll talk about, we'll go over in detail. We'll just kind of do a Week 5 recap. So before we call it a night, tonight is the WWE draft. So Clem, you are going to be SmackDown. I'm going to be Raw.
Okay.
We are going to each select 3 guys that we want to see from Raw to SmackDown that have been totally underused.
Okay.
So don't draft Drew McIntyre or Randy Orton or whatever. I want you to draft. You can draft tag teams too if you want.
Okay.
I want you to pick 3. We're gonna go. We'll kind of do like a mock. So, and this will be the only time a mock draft is ever done on this show. Okay. But so since SmackDown is tonight, I'm going to give you the first option. And then what we're going to do is on Monday, we're going to do this again because Monday the draft continues on Raw.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to give you 3 choices. I get 3 choices from Raw to SmackDown and SmackDown to Raw. So I'm going to give you the first choice.
All right, and I'm
One guy that your first pick of a guy that is terribly underused on Raw, that if you bring him to SmackDown, you're going to turn him into a bona fide, a solid addition to the show.
I'm gonna take Andrade.
Okay.
Just Andrade. No Angel Garza, no Zelina Vega, just Andrade.
Okay. I like that. It's an interesting pick. I think Andrade's actually going over.
So do I.
Okay. I'm going to exclude John Morrison and AJ Styles from this conversation because the rumor is they're going to Raw tonight. Okay. So that's too easy. All right. So if I have to pick for SmackDown, thinking about the roster, thinking about who's on there that I might want, I am going to select Matt Riddle.
Ooh, good pick. I like that pick.
I think Matt Riddle will thrive on Raw. No doubt in my mind.
Oof. I see. Let me see. All right, my next pick. I'm gonna take. Oh, this is. You know what? No,
Remember, I said you could take tag teams if you want.
I can,
You could take
but
tag teams as one pick if you want. I will allow it.
all right. Here's what's gonna happen. I'm taking just Shayna Baszler. We're taking the belts off of Nia and Shayna.
Well, they have to lose the belts first, so you can't really take them off of.
Oh, fine, I can't take Shayna. Oh, fine. You know who I'm taking? I'm taking Bianca Belair.
Okay, that's a good pick.
Taking Bianca Belair.
That's a very good pick. Okay, so now it's my turn. Okay, who would I want from SmackDown's roster? Okay, ready?
Mhm.
I'm going to pick tag team.
Okay.
I'm going to pick heavy machinery.
Oh, that's good. I
Heavy machine and heavy machinery has to cash in the money in the bank for the tag team titles.
I could see that happening tonight just because of the fact that Mandy Rose is on Raw already. So,
Heavy machinery will cash in the tag team against the Street Profits. That will be the next feud.
all right, my last pick. I am taking. Oh, there's two guys I like, but I'm gonna take Kevin Owens.
You're gonna take KO.
I'm taking Kevin Owens to SmackDown.
Okay. So I have one more pick left.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking long and hard about it. And I think that my pick
Mm-hmm.
is going to be Big E.
Ooh, that's good.
I'm going to bring Big E in as a singles wrestler. And when the New Day comes back, I'll have to figure that out.
Okay.
Because if I want, I don't know what
Yeah,
I
that's a
think.
good pick.
I think Kofi's just off TV right now. I think he's not even. I don't know if he's hurt or not. The best way to do it would be to.
Uh,
I would have Kofi turn on Big E and make Kofi a heel.
See, like, heel Kofi is something we never seen, and I'm all for that. But I don't think you can break up the New Day, man. You want to talk about like solid. Like, if you look at the past 5 years, there's been one constant tag team that's been solid. It's been the New Day.
Okay.
The New Day. The Usos, they've been injured, they've been arrested, whatever, blah. Rude and Ziggler, they're terrible. They broke up Sanity, which I'm still heartbroken about. Uh,
Yeah.
they just made the bar isn't together anymore. They had to do Shinsuke and Cesaro. Other than really like the Street Profits,
Mm-hmm.
the Viking Raiders. They stink too now. But the New Day has been one solid tag team in this whole company. So I don't think you can break up the New Day. It'll be interesting though if they were to do that though.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I think I want to see the New Day either as a bad tag team, like a heel tag team, or I want to see them kind of split up and just have, I think I might want to see that because I think they need a reboot. I think but so those are my picks. So your picks to recap are you picked
Andrade, I picked
Kevin Owens,
Evan Owens, and I picked
Bianca Belair,
Bianca Belair. Yep.
and I picked Matt Riddle.
Mhm.
I picked Heavy Machinery,
Mhm.
and I picked Big E.
Which might happen tonight. It's very true that this all might happen.
So, and it'll be a lot of fun to watch tonight. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Anything else before we get out of here?
Nah, I'm very excited to watch SmackDown tonight because I haven't watched SmackDown in forever. I've always been like out on Fridays. It's like
Yeah.
the Friday I get to I'm staying in and I'm like, TV. Here we go. Just relaxing all night, not doing nothing.
All right, man. Listen, that's going to do it for the Moffett on the Mic show for this Friday night. We'll be back again on Monday at our regular time of 5 p.m. right here. Hopefully, back on our Facebook A1 Sports Network page. We will preview the Yankees' first ALCS matchup against the Houston Astros on Monday. We'll get into our Week 5 recap. What's that?
I said if they win.
We'll take it as they will win. Come on, stop. You guys have got to stop. I was talking to Keith today. Keith's like, "Yeah, I'm optimistic that they'll win." I'm like, "What do you mean you're optimistic? Are you serious right now?"
Man, if they lose,
Hole in a game 5. That's game set match Yankees.
I know.
So, So we'll preview the Yankees Astros game one of the ALCS on Monday. We'll get into the Week 5 recap, and we will continue our WWE draft of this will be Raw to SmackDown starting on Monday. Clem, thank you for holding it down like you normally do. As always, you can follow the show on Instagram at Moffett on the Mic, Twitter at Moffett on the Mic, and my Facebook page as well. You can follow Clem and the A1 Sports Network on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Wherever you are, stay safe. Have a great weekend. Watch the games, enjoy the games, and enjoy playoff baseball. For Yankee fans, enjoy your win in Game 5 this evening over the Tampa Bay Rays. And we'll be back Monday night, 5 o'clock, right here on the A1 Sports Network Facebook page. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you Monday.